Mark, pleasure to have you on Class on Grass TV.
Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you again. How's life after being a referee?
I don't know, it's less stressful. Some people ask me, a lot of people ask me, say, do I miss it? Yeah, I miss the banter on the pitch, but I don't miss all the politics that go on with refereeing and sort of what goes on after the games, where they dissect your performance, every camera in the ground. But no, I mean, I'm doing a bit of coaching, work for urlref.com. Where we do a lot of blogging, we do a ref show, weekly ref show, and sort of do a column in a newspaper. So, looking at referees' performances, decision making, and sort of, you're not being too critical, but you've got to be honest in the way you analyse the referee's performance, and you're doing it exactly the same way as an ex-footballer when he becomes a pundit on TV. So it's no different from yourself doing that with referees, but unfortunately sometimes the referees get a little bit upset with what they have to say, but it's about being honest.
So what do you plan to do going forward now?
I'm enjoying what I'm doing now. I mean, I was a sort of a football pundit on BT Sport last year, where I was live and sort of, looking at big controversial incidents. Obviously that didn't come to fruition because of certain individuals within an organisation that wasn't happy with an article I wrote in a newspaper, and that certain person in that organisation had me removed from the company, BT, I was working for.
So I'll put you under the spotlight then. So this weekend, if you must remember the Chelsea game, where Cahill is not, well, I'm not going to say whether he dives or not, I'm going to put that on you, but it wasn't given. Do you think you know why the referee might not have given it?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Chris's performance, Chris is a very experienced referee, and what you've got to remember is as well, that's Chris's first game back refereeing Chelsea since he refereed him last season at Aston Villa, where he sent 2 Chelsea players off. He put Jose Mourinho into the stands, and I felt they could have dealt that, the 4/5 with John Moss and Chris. He thought he could have handled that a little bit better than they did. And they looked at Willian should never have been sent off for a second yellow card. It was never a second yellow card. And so, Chris goes into that game thinking, I don't know if I upset Chelsea again, I'm going to referee him again, and that's what happens. And when you look at it, I think if Chris is very honest with himself, he'll look back at that and say, well, yeah, perhaps I could have given a free kick for Chelsea's first goal, because Mikel definitely fouls the whole City player in midfield. Great spot with Willian, great spot with Diego Costa with the simulation trying to deceive Chris. Although you look at Costa, he gets straight back up and runs after the ball.
So for it, really.
No. So it's difficult. It's difficult, and when you get something like that, you could easily just say, okay, yeah, look, he's not looking to deceive. He can play on. Don't go. When I refereed, I always used to say to myself, don't go looking for trouble, because trouble will find you. Yeah. And what happens then is you get Huddleston, right, who deservedly got a red card for that challenge. Now, the players get frustrated and they take the law into their own hands, because they can see the referee not taking action on certain instances, and then all of a sudden something goes against Hull, and bang, the referee deals with it. So you're thinking, he's favouring Chelsea. Gary was very lucky, in my opinion, that he never got a red card for the challenge, because if you look at Huddleston, you look at some challenges we've seen in recent weeks, and then for me, he's not sent him off for that challenge. And for me, the easiest one of the day, the easiest simulation or trying to deceive the referee was Gary's. Yeah. And it was just clear for everyone to see. Now, in the back of your mind, Chris's mind, Aston Villa Chelsea, he hasn't refereed Chelsea since then. Is he unsure? Is he unsure that there's been Gary's, deceived him? Well, it's clear to see by everybody, and I just think Chris has sort of taken the easy way out and chose not to see it.
It's interesting you mentioned that Richard Key said it's chaos at the moment. Would you say the refereeing is better now, or has it been better in the past?
I think there is a lack of good referees coming through. but I wouldn't blame the referees. We've got some very good referees at the moment, but as I say, they're just not performing at their best at the moment, and you've got to look to say why they're not performing. Well, that comes from the management, that comes from leadership, that comes from direction, and I think that's clear and evident as what we're seeing in referees' performances at the moment. And obviously confidence. Sometimes a referee's like a player. You need to put an arm around him, or we're seeing referees put into games that have not got experience and they're not performing. Now you've got to look why they're not performing. Why are we giving these inexperienced referees these big? I mean, I watched the game on Sunday, Tottenham at Swansea Tottenham. Robert Madley, nice lad, good referee in the Football League, just been promoted up. She's refereed 3 games this season in the Premier League. Why are we putting him into the spotlight on a big game like that? Swansea Tottenham. Why are we putting him into that big game? Why? He's not ready for that yet. I mean, when I got into the Premier League, I didn't get a live game until about my 3rd season. Do you not? So it's about looking after the referees, gaining your experience, learning your trade in the Premier League. I mean, every game's a big game, but there are games you can just put referees into and put them out, just like young players. When managers bring young players in and then bring them out, and it's about looking after them. Getting the experience at this level. We've seen it with Stuart Atwell and other referees on the list that have been removed. Because they wasn't managed correctly. If they had been managed correctly, then they would still be on that list refereeing. Andy D'Urso was taken out. And there was 1 or 2 others that were taken out. If they were managed correctly, then they'd still be there.
My last 2 questions. So, what was the worst thing about being a referee, or something you just disliked?
For me, making errors. I've made errors. Like referees and making errors today. So I can't say that I was a referee that went out on that pitch and and people have a go at me on Twitter saying, "Why are you criticising? You weren't the best. You made sense." I'm not denying I made errors. I did make errors, but not on the scale that we're seeing today. We're looking at errors when you could look perhaps one every couple of weeks, or not from me but other referees. But at the moment we're seeing errors every game, every week. So for me, I used to dread making an error, because you'd know about it before you got off the pitch. And obviously, do I watch Match of the Day? Do I watch Sky Sports News to see that but as I say, when you come off the pitch, you've made an error and you don't need to see it on TV. And for me, I used to hate making key match errors.
How important is the positioning? So it's all
positions. It's very important. If you're in the right place at the right time, then you're going to see everything. There are going to be occasions where you are good players. I mean, it's happened to me a couple of times where players run straight in front of me, and all of a sudden something's happened and I haven't seen it. And something's happened, but you can't guess. You cannot guess. That's the thing with refereeing. You cannot guess. It's not a science, it's an art, refereeing.
That sort of comes back to my point about referees all having their own opinions, because they are people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So if you have that on an instinct basis, because refereeing is an instinct basis, not that you can't look at a screen and say yeah. So
you can, but where the instant takes place. So if you've got an instant that takes place, say he's been sent off, say Fabianski, he's way out wide. Okay, is he denying a goal or a clear goal scoring opportunity? Right, and you look at it, you look at it. Well, where the incident took place, how far was it from goal? Direction of play, so the direction of player, direction of the ball. Was it going towards goal? And we were always told if you're out wide and the ball's not going towards goal, then it's not a denial. So where's it coming there to say that he's going towards goal, the player's going towards goal? So how's Chris come to that conclusion that that's a denial? So I know that on that day that the fourth officials told the officials, you better get your act together on this.
Okay.
So do you know? And I know that. So then they're thinking they're going to get their stories all right, and then so then he goes to the FA and he gets. I know because I've been there, I've done it, so I know what goes on. So you can say on that incident, and then you show the Welbeck incident with Drummett, and you look at the 2 incidents, you say, well, that is a red card, because he's good. He can get a shot off goal. He's just got the goalkeeper to beat. The defenders are nowhere there. You know, so as I say, you look at, you know, the incident took place, how far it was from goal. Has he any chance of controlling or regain control of the ball? Direction of play, direction of player, direction of ball, and how many defenders were in the vicinity of that area. Now, if you look at Fabianski one, that doesn't meet that criteria, right? You look at the Welbeck and Drummond one, that does meet the criteria. So, you know, you look at that, you go to a meeting, you know, and if I was a general manager, I say, right, this is clearly not a goal scoring opportunity, this is. So you know, as a referee, you're going out onto that pitch, anything happens that wide and the ball's not going towards goal, going away from goal, you know that ain't going to be, it's not a goal or a clear goal scoring opportunity. Okay? Whereas on the Arsenal one, where it was, how far away from goal, where it was, you would know that is more denial than what the Fabianski one was.
There's one decision that I personally want to ask you about. There's a game at Anfield. Shelby and Evans go for 50-50. Evans is definitely the guilty party, in my opinion.
You've got to be a Liverpool fan. You've got to be a Liverpool fan.
No comment. And Shelby in the end was sent off, I believe. And then later on there was a soft penalty. But as a referee, do you go into the big games like that, feeling nervous like players, or?
Yeah, of course you do. You know, and obviously it was on the day with the anniversary of the Hillsborough as well, and what's going on with that. So it was quite an emotional day, to be fair. And you know, walking out Anfield to that tune, it's the air stand up on the back of it. It's fantastic. It's great ground to walk out at. Yeah, I mean, you get nervous, you know, you go down into the dressing room about 1:30, you have your safety briefing, an hour and 15 minutes before kick-off, then the captains and the managers come in with the team sheets at an hour before kick-off, and I've got my iPod playing to sort of calm me down and, you know, keep me nice and calm, not getting too het up. And it's yeah, you do your pre-match instructions with your assistant referees, tell them what you want, how you want them to help you and with the game, and then you sort of ring the bell 8 minutes to, and out you go, and you touch that sign, and away you go, and it's you know, that first decision, getting that first decision right, and bang, get that right, and hopefully everything goes in nicely. But you talk about the Evans and John Joe Shelby, we all know, you know your players, but you don't prejudge, and you treat each instance on its merits. And looking back, I think, had both players stayed down on the floor, I don't think I would have done anything. But the fact that Shelby he's gone in, they've both gone in, he's gone in, he's got up and he's gone and just walked up and ran off, and I'm thinking, he's done him here, he's gone in to do it, and that's why I sent it off, because if you see the stud marks down his legs. And that's what I just got myself a bit of thinking time, and then decided, he's got to go. I got supported by the delegate, who was Dennis Smith on the day he was assessing it, ex-player. But looking back, if I had my time again, like I said, if I would just wish both players had stayed down, because I would have done nothing. I would have done absolutely nothing.
In terms of fitness then, so you did a lot of fitness work as a referee, you're no longer a referee, you still keeping up with fitness work?
Not as much as I should do. I've got to say, I've spent, as a player and as a referee, I've spent 38 consecutive seasons in doing the pre-season, whether I was a player and as a referee, and I go to the gym now, and my body just says, no more, Mark, I've had enough. So I think I've drunk more bottles of wine in the last year and a half than I've done in 20 years of refereeing.
Is that quite hard to keep up with, being so, like, you train so hard every season?
Yeah.
And then, for you, when the season ends, is it similar to a footballer that you've got to be really careful about what you eat?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And you become more lethargic as well, more tired, because you're not doing anything. I do. What should I say? As I said, the body tells me now. I've not got that goal, have I? I've not got that end goal of getting up, training every day, and getting a match. For a Saturday or Sunday or a Monday. So there's nothing there at the end of it for me, is there? So you tend to just to relax and do nothing and sort of enjoy yourself, or obviously I can't enjoy myself too much because it's the money's not as good as when I was refereeing, but money's not everything.
Did you ever have like a player who, because now you see players surround the referee really quickly, in particular you see it in Spain, not so much in England,
Yeah.
but was there any team or player that you felt just kept nagging, that you couldn't deal with him?
No, not really. I mean, then sometimes you get certain teams, but they just do it. It's just, surround the referee. You used to get quite a bit. In the big teams, you get you used to have Chelsea, Man United. When there's a big decision, all teams, they all surround you. You see it on Saturday with Chris, with Hull City. They done it, and I think. You look at Mark Clattenburg's decision on Saturday at Burnley v Southampton. Great positioning, gives the penalty to Southampton, not one complaint, because he's there. No one said a dicky bird to him. That's because the players have got the respect and they've got the trust in him to make the correct decisions. When the players haven't got the trust in the referee to make the correct decisions, like we saw at Chelsea Hull on Saturday, that's when you keep getting players around you, because they know there's been an injustice, and they're not trusting the referee on that occasion, which he's not making the right call, he's not making the right decisions, and that's what that comes with players' frustrations. With that comes ill discipline, and with that taking the law into their own hands.
On the flip side, then, let's end this on a positive note. What was the best thing about being a referee? Several best things.
What was the best thing? Love being involved in football. I love involved in football from when I was 8, all the way up as a player. I just loved football. It was my life. And it's great that brilliant that PGMOL came along and offered us the chance to become involved full time in football, because it's a great profession to be in, although it has its pressures, but then it's not bad money for what you've done. Did I retire too early? Some people say yes, some people say no. I think with my illness, with my battle with cancer, I think my body had enough. I think if a different manager was in place, I would most probably would have stayed on. If we had Keith Hackett still in charge rather than Mike Riley, and I think we would have spoken man to man better, and I think I would have most probably carried on for perhaps another season. But then looking back on it, I think my body had gone through so much with all my chemotherapy, my radiotherapy, and then battling to get back to fitness. That was a massive ask, and I think the body had too much, taken too much, and it told me, Mark, you had enough.
Well, Mark, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks. I enjoyed it. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. So you've got the same band, eh?
Yeah.
Nice job, eh?
I've actually had mine since I was about 12.
Oh, have you?
I've never taken it off. I don't know why.
No, I haven't. I've had it since my battle. Since I was diagnosed with cancer, and obviously my wife's, she's got leukemia, so she's not well at the moment. So we've had it on all fronts.
Mark, now that we've done your interview, who would you like to nominate to go next?
I'm going to nominate Kevin Davies, Davo. All the rubbish and all the earache he gave me on a Monday morning over referees, so I'm going to nominate Kevin Davies.
Great stuff. Cheers.